Hey guys, it's your girl Nye Latte, and welcome to Girl Chat, the podcast. An interactive, sexual, exploitative, and fun podcast where we talk about any and everything relating to things like sex, love, relationships, and the like. You can catch me here on Fridays at 11 o'clock for some hot real chat. So today's podcast is actually episode 1. And we're going to go over masturbating, not the how-to, but I actually had an interesting conversation with a few women who actually told me that they have never masturbated or don't know how to. And they really don't see the point in it. So for me, it kind of got me thinking about, well, why do we do it, obviously, besides just getting off? And I know for me, I actually started masturbating at like 12. I didn't know what it was then, but I learned that kind of when you touch yourself, things happen and they felt good and I kind of liked the feeling. So I think I started doing it a lot since then. And I definitely would say that over time, the methods have changed. Of course, when you're starting out, you use your fingers. For some reason, the middle finger seems to be like the trigger finger, I call it. I don't know why, if it gives you balance or it just kind of helps with the momentum of everything, but the middle finger is always a classic finger of mine. Also, there's the first finger, which it feels weird. I'm telling you, it's like the fastest way for your shit to cramp up is to use the pointer finger. But I know lately, in like the past couple of years, I had this thing where I would like hold myself with the left hand and do it with the right hand. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's the heavy breathing or sometimes it gets intense in there. Like I'm talking leg shake, scream your own name, intensity. So I used to definitely use the right hand to kind of anchor myself, or the left hand, and go to work with the right hand. So I also was thinking about things like, masturbating on location. How many of you have done it in the bedroom? Obviously. But also, I know like a friend of mine that used to do it in class. Like she literally would be in class and sitting there rubbing her legs together and would be getting off. And I found that so interesting because I'm like, how? Like, to me, I'd be too worried about somebody seeing me or somebody like knowing what I'm doing. But I mean, she loved it. She said it was the throw that got her off. Like me, I can't imagine sitting here and I'm in a room with like 10 people and meanwhile getting off, just getting off all occasionally. I mean, taking notes because, education is important, but just sitting there getting off. Like, I'm such a loud nutter or orgasm person that would fuck with me. It probably would draw attention really easily. So, I mean, if anything, I definitely want you guys to reach out. Hit me up at Girl Chat, NCC on Instagram, and let me know, like, what your thoughts are about that. Like, when did you get started? How do you do it? Definitely want you guys' feedback. The next thing I wanted to kind of cover is part of that, like masturbating on location. I know for those of you that don't know, I used to be a flight attendant for 3 major carriers. I'm not going to say which ones, but 3 major carriers. And I know there was plenty of times we would fly in the plane with no passengers. And one day, I'm talking, I had like a 45-minute flight. And I was sitting in the back by myself. I had a dress on and I'm looking out the window at this beautiful view. I'm talking clouds, city lights, gorgeous. It's like maybe 8-9 p.m. And I just had this wild idea, like, what if I could actually get off while being on this airplane? So I unhooked my seatbelt, which never do that on an airplane. But I unhooked my seatbelt and I leaned the seat back And I stood in there, I propped one leg up on the next seat, and I put like one leg on the aisle, and I just stare at the window, and I literally just slide my hands down under the dress, and I just kind of got it popping, like I just got it together. And the whole time I was sitting there thinking, like, does this count as joining the Mile High Club, even though you're by yourself? I mean, I guess to me it does, because it's not like anyone else was there, but that is the kind of things that I feel like is exciting about self-pleasure, because how can anyone else get you off, really, if you can't get you off? It's kind of like, how do you teach someone to drive your car if you've never driven it? So when I talk to women that haven't masturbated and they're like, but why? Like, why would I do that? Those are the kind of things that I kind of ask them. It's like, well, then how do you know if anyone else can really get you off? Like, you're not getting you off. And I always try to say, like, sometimes maybe your hands is not enough. Like, maybe you don't want to touch yourself. I mean, yes, we wipe ourselves when we pee as women, but it's like some people really just don't want to put their hands down there for no reason, which kind of makes me kind of feel the same way in the beginning. But then I discovered the vibrator, which for those of you that obviously don't know what a vibrator is, it's a tool that runs either on batteries. A lot of them are cordless now, but they run on batteries, and they have different speeds that you kind of put in between your crotch lips, and it kind of makes this sound on your clit, and after a while it feels amazing. I know my first vibrator, this is definitely about to sound like dirt, but like I know my first one was actually one, I was at someone's house like years ago. I probably was like 16. I was at someone's house, and like I found it. So like I took it home, and like I cleaned it off, and then like I used it. When I mean that shit changed my entire fucking life, it changed my entire life. Like, that was like finding religion or something. That shit was that amazing. I mean, when I first hit the low speed, it was like I was being born again. I'm pretty sure I gave myself my first orgasm, which is no shade to anybody that slept with me and haven't been able to give me one, but I gave myself my first one. Not even gonna lie, because I literally, it was a bullet. I remember it was clear. It was a clear bullet. It was small. It looked like a pill. And I literally pressed the button, and it was the lowest speed. And then like I accidentally pressed it again, and it got faster. And I was loving, like my legs was shaking. I thought I was literally going to explode in half. Like my mind was blowing. It was legit blowing up. And that's when I was like, whatever this is, I must find out, like there has to be more of these. The shit was that amazing. I had to definitely learn more about it. And I ended up ordering in my lifetime several of them. Those of you that remember my Pillow Talk Live, I showed you three of my vibrators. But I know my favorite one is definitely the Bullet. It's shaped like an egg, like the egg lip balm actually. And it has multiple speeds. It has 6 speeds. And I would say I still to this day like take it as a personal challenge if I can get up to speed number 6. Because I know usually by the time I get to speed 3, I think by the time I get to speed 3, I'm like crying because it's so good. And I literally just can't get enough of it. The shit's crazy. But I know like those are my favorite ones. They have the ones that look like penises, but like I don't like those because I don't know. I feel like they're long and they're thin, and I feel like they miss the mark. Like I'm a type of person where I don't get off really by putting things in me. And I learned recently in the last 5 years that there is a word for that. So there are people that get stimulated off of clit stimulation. Like you can just touch your clit just all day, so they get like head or whatever, and they get off that way. And then there are other people that have like whole stimulation, like they have to be fingered or they gotta get fucked, like they only can get off that way. And I know for me, for years, I was like purely clit stimulation. So the dildo like vibrators or the ones that look like penises, they don't really do anything for me because they're too long. They go above the clit over it, similar to like a virgin guy. And it doesn't really do much for me. So I don't really like those. I've seen a couple of those. I've owned some. I mean, can't knock something you've never tried, right? So I have owned some. They're not really for me. But, I don't knock any of you guys that use them. They're just not my personal preference. I am a bullet girl. I'm a pill girl. I like anything small, compactable with a shit ton of speeds because sometimes I like to go slow and then speed up. The only thing about using that though is to go from like a vibrator to your hands. It kind of is disappointing because then your hands doesn't move. Like your hands don't move fast enough. And sometimes that kind of will frustrate you because you just want to get off so bad. And without something that goes in 6 speed or more, 3 speed or more, it kind of can be a letdown. I know I definitely would say the only other thing besides using like a vibrator is this new thing that I guess it's not new to some of you guys, but it was new to me in the past couple years, is people that masturbate with your partner. It's a word for that. It's called like mutual masturbation. I'm not gonna lie, that is the most pointless thing in the world to me. Like I personally just don't get it, because if I'm laying next to you and you're ready to go, I'm horny, I'm ready to go, I'm not gonna sit next to you and touch myself while you touch yourself. Like, what kind of pointless shit is that where you literally just, I touch me, you touch you, but we're literally laying next to each other? Like, fuck that. I want you to touch me and I want to touch you, obviously. But I definitely think that I don't knock anyone that does it, but I mean, I guess in a sense it could be romantic, but for me, I think I'm going to pass. If I'm laying next to you, I'm clearly expecting you to touch me, not anyone else or myself. But if I'm laying next to you, I prefer you do things, obviously. So definitely hit me up on Instagram at girlchat and just let me know you guys' thoughts. Are you into mutual masturbating? Do you do it? How do you do it? And I definitely want to know, what's the weirdest place you've ever done it? Now, I know that some of you guys are wondering kind of how this whole thing works in terms of, like, really, how do you do it? The nitty gritty. Like, what do you do? And to be honest, I actually YouTubed it. I YouTubed it and I Googled it. And everyone says things like, lay in a comfortable position, relax your legs. And it's like, no shit, obviously. To me, I would say it's like having sex. Find a comfortable position, open your legs, touch where it feels good, and then just keep touching it until it feels really amazing. But for those of you that are not really a fan of using your own fingers yourself, I definitely want to recommend a bullet of any kind or the pill. I know Screaming O is a really good brand of vibrators. I have several myself. But if you guys are looking for the ones that maybe look like penises, the ones that have remote controls, or even the ones you can wear like panties that have definitely packed the most punch, you guys can definitely visit my sex toy shop. It's pypclub.com, where not only can you get $5 shipping on all orders, you get free shipping on orders $15 or more. And I know from now until January 1, with discount code New Year's Eve, or New Year's, you also get an additional 10% off. So definitely visit pypclub.com for all your sex toy and vibration needs. That's pypclub.com. And for now, I hate to keep it short and sweet, but it is Christmas, and I definitely plan on having a merry one today. So once again, guys, this has been the Girl Chat Podcast with your girl, Night Latte. And if you love what you hear and you want to hear more, visit me at Girl Chat NCC on Instagram or NCC Brands on Facebook. Thanks, guys, and keep it hot.